ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for coming here this evening to welcome me to Chennai. This is the first book tour I have made of India, but not the first time I've visited here. I've been here on a number of occasions as a tourist, just blending in with everyone else, and I have developed a great fascination and, dare I say it, love of India. I find everything about India so very different, so exciting. The energy of the country, the millions and millions and myriads of people of different religions and different languages, the changing landscape, the architecture and the great history behind the country. I also love the food, and dare I say it, I even quite enjoy the traffic. I said to my wife, it's like playing a video game, but the difference in this game, if you lose, you die. The first time I came here, I had a driver called Ashok, and he drove my wife and I all around India, and he was tremendous. I mean, he'd overtake 8 trucks in a line with oncoming traffic, and as he pulled back into the left side again, I'd say, "Shabash, Ashok." And he said to me, "Mr. Smith, if you're going to drive in India, you have to have 4 things. You have to have good brakes. You have to have good eyes. You have to have good nerves. And you have to have good luck." And as I was sitting there, I looked across the room and I could not believe my eyes. A miracle had happened. I went, the hair on the back of my neck went up. Goosebumps on my arms. And there, on the other side of the lounge, was a lady, and she was reading my book. My heart beat faster. I watched her avidly. Was she going to smile? Was she going to burst out laughing? Was she going to burst into tears with the pathos of my book? But nothing happened. She just kept reading. And finally, I could contain myself no longer. So I stood up, crossed the lounge, stood in front of her, and I said, "Excuse me, madam." And she looked up, and I said, "I think you should know that that's my book you're reading." And she said, "Oh." And she took the book and put it in my hands. She said, "I'm so terribly sorry, I just found it lying here." What I've done, and I've been doing for 47 years, has been ups and downs, but mostly ups. It's been tears and laughter, but mostly laughter. And I am delighted to be standing in front of you. And when I look at you lot, I think it was worth it. Thank you very much indeed.
What is the hardest part about writing fiction, sir? You have been writing for so many years, and you know, you are so readable. I mean, I personally feel that is the best thing about a book. You know, you want to turn the page and go on and on. So what is the hardest part that you find about writing fiction, and maybe the easiest also?
That's the type of book I want to write. It's entertainment, where the reader can believe in the characters and start identifying with them and worrying about what's going to happen to them through the course of the book. The hardest part, the simple answer is, anything you do with all your heart and all your soul is never easy. The getting over the feeling of fear that you have at the beginning of a book, particularly if it's a first book. You're not sure what you're doing. Are you doing it right? And then once you start writing the book, it is a very, very lonely task that you've taken upon yourself. And a lot of people, if their whole working life they've been working with other people, colleagues, superiors, bosses to tell them what to do, they get a feeling of insecurity being on their own there and taking the responsibility for every single thing.
Like the Sunbird and especially the Egyptian novels, there's more than a hint on themes of reincarnation. Is that something you believe in, or?
Is too strong a word, perhaps. I think it's logical. I think that life renews itself and continues. I can't imagine that if we are reincarnated, that we appear again exactly as we were in the previous life. But I think it is possible that the life force is carried on into other animals or into other human beings of the species. I'm waiting to find out.
Now, out of the books I read, I seen that you generally talk about big game hunting. Now, in your real life, have you ever experienced any adventurous incident in big game hunting, or it is just what you see in National Geographic and then you write?
Hunters turn out to be the most ardent conservationists. Let me give you just one example. Jim Corbett, here in India, hunted tigers and all sorts of Indian game, and but the Corbett National Park is now named after him. Teddy Roosevelt, President of the United States of America at the turn of the last century, he was an avid hunter. He came out and spent a whole year on safari in Africa.
The wonderful plots are the key to the success of a story. How do you find suitable plots for your stories?
The plots come from living, from everything that happens around you. You see something that it might be a small incident, and you think, why did that happen? And what are the consequences? In this book of mine, it's about a woman who has her child taken away from her, and it's her efforts to get the child back, and woven into the story are the other people that assist her in her endeavor. It's about people striving and people doing interesting things, and you want to know what's going to happen next. So you have to train your mind from your age now to think about what you see going on around you. And also the best way is to read other people's books. Read all the books you can get your hands on. If you enjoy it, think, why do I enjoy it? How did this author hold my attention through 300 or 400 pages? If you don't like it, say, what has he done wrong here? What has he done that lost my interest and I didn't want to really go on reading the book? So it's keeping your eyes open and keeping your mind alive.
Do need to follow
Yes, she does.
Absolutely, that's fine. As long as...